2020. They are in the backup for review and comment. Does anybody have any questions or comments for this item?
No comment. Motion to approve. Joseph Norby, City of Las Vegas.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? David, are you going to call each one individually?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do the roll call. Michelle Castor from NDOT.
Aye.
Masad from Clark County.
Masood, aye.
Joe Damiani from RTC.
Aye.
Eric Hawkins, City of Henderson.
Aye.
Joseph Norby, City of Las Vegas.
Aye.
Tim Reisman, City of North Las Vegas.
Aye.
Okay, with 6 ayes, the motion passes.
Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to item number 3. Joe Damiani, RTC. Received the FAST status, activity, and call status complaints reports for possible action.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. This is Brian Hoff, the Director for the Traffic Management Center. And normally we would have managers Lonnie Brown and Teresa Gazer give this report, but I am going to go ahead and give this report on behalf of them. So I will run down what has occurred over the last couple of months and then open it up for any questions or comments. So I will begin with the maintenance and comm side of the house and the FMS. And a lot of work in the rural areas, support to configure devices on Kyle Canyon, in Laughlin, some connections down at Hoover Dam, a lot of support with Project Neon and the system acceptance tests, and then the on-demand maintenance of the various ITS devices, the DMS signs, the CCTVs, the detectors, and so forth. On the AMS side, the arterial management system side, we continue to do a lot of work in the Convention Center and Las Vegas Boulevard area. We did investigations of conduits and pole boxes at the Paradise Convention Center bus stop. We have been doing comm updates to the ticket vending machines at Mirage, Harrah's, and Caesars. We have been doing a lot of work associated with the construction on the Southern Beltway down here right by the Traffic Management Center near Decatur. Supporting that, we worked with the fiber team to maintain connectivity by moving circuits from the north side to the south side. We have also worked with the contractors. There have been a few fiber cuts and disruptions, but our staff and others have been able to mitigate and manage that pretty well. We've worked quite a bit downtown on the projects going on with 8th Street from Bridger to Stewart and on Imperial from Commerce to 3rd Street. We installed a switching computer at the Las Vegas City Hall for their GAMC. We moved some circuits down in the south part of the valley along Las Vegas Boulevard between Wigwam and LeBaron and over on Warm Springs near the rental car facility at Gillespie. And then we also replaced several CCTVs. We added a new CTV down at Jones and Badura, which also is not too far from. The fiber team has also been busy. They did some testing of the fiber circuit in the Grant Sawyer building and NDOT District 1. Found some problems there, and NDOT has a contractor working on that. We've been testing the fiber out of Hub 9, which is up in the northwest part of the valley along Durango, and we supervised some cable replacement up there. We have been working with the City of Las Vegas on its Smart City project so we could connect the MLK area with City Hall. Worked with the Clark County IT Data Center due to some construction issues, and were able to move a circuit to its redundant path. We verified fiber vaults on Stewart and Casino as part of the downtown projects. We reconnected the fiber circuit between the airport and the car rental facility, worked with our Streets and Highways Department on the project at Sunset and Jones, and also reestablished the direct path between Centennial, Park and Ride, and the RTC admin building. So that's kind of the overview on the con maintenance side. And then on the traffic signal operations side, we are down to less than 20 traffic signal controllers left on the I2 system. And so we're continuing to work on that. We have been, as the traffic volumes have decreased, been looking at our coordination plans and our cycle lengths and reducing those as necessary. And one comment that I would put out to the group is that if you do see some corridors and intersections that you want us to take a look at, please contact our staff and we will definitely take a look at it. We do have our signal crews working in the field quite a bit and kind of geographically assigned to their residence areas so that they can see what's happening in the different entities that way. We have been working on some various training workshops. A good one that we had last week was with our traffic signal vendor, which is TrafficWare. We had a transit signal priority training workshop, and then we also looked at some Opticom demonstrations. Up until all these events hit, we were continuing to work quite a bit with the on special events such as the NFL draft. And so that has been postponed, so that has been discontinued, but that was a good opportunity and we were making good progress on that. That would have been a successful event if it had occurred. We continue to connect with the Allegiant Stadium team and will continue discussions with them virtually. Internally at RTC, or actually for the members, we provided an IT help desk phone number and email addresses so the members can contact our IT department directly if they have any questions about their JMCs, the jurisdictional management. One more nice item of note is that a couple of months ago, our senior traffic systems tech, Chuck Podlesny, retired, and Luis Valenzuela has been promoted to take over the senior traffic system. So congratulations to Luis. A couple more items related to the freeways. We have successfully launched the active traffic management portion of Project Neon, and so now the gantries are capable of posting the green arrows and the yellow and red X's to help manage speed flow and manage incidents, and we've had good success during the first week of that launch. And we speak daily with NDOT, with our staff, and with the contractors to provide updates and tweaking and adjustments as this system continues to roll out. And then we have also been posting public service announcement messages on our electronic traffic signs about the virus. And then just yesterday, given the directive from the governor, we have new messages at the state line signs, which read, if entering Nevada, self-quarantine for 14 days, stay-at-home order in effect. And so we continue to work very closely along those fronts. And then one last item with our technology contractor, Waycare. We have the Road to Zero grant where we have strategic traffic management sites throughout Southern Nevada. We've been doing this version of that report for 6 months now, and the data is coming in to show that we are successfully reducing speeds when we need to and also reducing crashes. So if we compile a lot of that data, we'll provide more quantifiable updates in the future. So that is my rundown of the activities for the past couple of months, and I will take any questions or comments.
Thank you, Brian. Joe Damiani, RTC, do we have any questions or comments from the group? Okay, hearing none. That'll move us on to item number 4. Item 4 is to receive the Nevada Department of Transportation NDOT Fast Intelligent Transportation System Operations Report performed as part of NDOT's contracts.
Good morning. This is Denise Inda from NDOT Traffic Operations, calling in from sunny Reno. Everyone should hopefully have a copy of our report for this meeting. It was included in the electronic package. I'll just cover a couple of highlights. You all should have the report in front of you. First off, Project Neon and the ATM system. Brian provided a lot of details on that, and we're working really closely with FAST, with the resident engineer, the contractors, Kimley Horn, et cetera, and we really appreciate FAST's ability to dig in and, look into the system, work on the system, work with the system, and provide really great feedback to all of the contractors and parties involved. So far, so good. Teresa reported at a recent meeting, as Brian said, they are meeting daily to kind of make sure that issues are tweaked and managed. And Teresa reported that they had a great instance of the ATM system being utilized over the weekend to provide some advance notice on I-15 of a crash and a secondary incident, and really felt that it provided good information in advance to drivers as they were coming into this queue, and potentially reduced other crashes. So that's awesome. Moving on, the wrong way driver system, we're moving forward, getting working through the details of getting that system up and running in key areas. Now that we have interchanges, particularly up north, with the systems installed as part of the FHWA requirement for experimentation, we have to study the effectiveness of the red rectangular rapid flashing beacons. And so through the NDOT Safety Division, Kimley Horn has been engaged to help us document that process and provide that report for FHWA. It's a 3-year reporting requirement, and so we will be providing updates to FHWA every 6 months for the next 3 years on the results and impacts of those systems. DMS policy, as Brian mentioned, NDOT has been working closely with the governor's office to utilize our existing infrastructure, the message boards, to post COVID-related messages. Generally, those would not be messages that we would be posting on our roadways. However, we received notification from FHWA a couple of weeks ago that because the governor declared an emergency, or governor/president, I guess, declared an emergency, that enabled us to post these kinds of messages. So we're still fitting in within our guidelines and recommendations, and we are posting messages like Brian said, and we're doing the same thing statewide that you guys are seeing down in Southern Nevada. Moving on, the TIM Coalition, on this agenda, we say there's a meeting planned for April 30th, but given the fast-moving changes, I think that meeting will be rescheduled accordingly and not be getting together on April 30th. Freeway Service Patrol, we're also making some tweaks to that program, and there was discussion, as the governor asked agencies to look at their expenditures and their programs and really focus in on essential areas. One of the things that we did was to consider, with traffic volumes down, should we reduce Freeway Service Patrol? The combined result of that discussion with the partner agencies was absolutely not, because they provide such a valuable role on the roadway, and given the fact that Highway Patrol and NDOT maintenance personnel are not out there as much as they have been, that the Freeway Service Patrol presence was really critical. So we're continuing with that, and we will, obviously we'll continue to monitor it and tweak it as necessarily. And then just the last thing I wanted to bring up was the advanced signal warning system guidance. We're moving forward with that process. We have a consultant on board. We've developed the guidance and the process, and now we're working with that consultant to develop an outreach and education component, because that's a really big part of making changes to the advanced signal warning systems, is making sure that drivers are aware of it and know that the advanced flasher that they might have relied upon in the past will be shifting and changing. So we're working on that. We got our legal division involved just to make sure that we're stepping through it properly. We had planned to come to the most recent one of the most recent subcommittee meetings down for RTC, but our travel plans were waylaid, and we want to continue to get that information out, as well as the green Shero bike marking information out. And so we'll be coordinating to figure out how we can participate in meetings if they're going to be held virtually in the near term, or if we'll just be present at the next in-person meeting kind of thing. But if you guys have any questions or concerns, ask today, follow up with an email, whatever you might need, and we'll be happy to get you more information. So that sums up my report. Happy to take any questions or comments if there are any.
Joe, are you muted?
Is that better?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I switched headsets, but obviously that one didn't work. All right, so thank you, Denise. Any questions or comments from the committee on NDOT's report? Okay, hearing none. Item number 5 brings us to an amended item. It's approve the amendment to the Las Vegas Freeway and Arterial System of Transportation Agreement.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. And so I'm going to ask Senior Director John Penuelas to discuss the background for this item, and then we will ask the members for their comments and questions and potentially make a recommendation for approval. So, JP.
Yes, thank you. For the record, this is John Penuelas with the RTC. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Yes, you'll recall, committee, that at your February 6th meeting, we brought an item to your attention, a discussion item to direct staff to look at potentially new funding options for the FAST arterial management system. We did that. We consulted legal counsel. We have a proposed amendment in front of you. It specifically changes the funding source for FAST arterial management system from Q10 sales tax to motor vehicle fuel tax. The agreement that's in place establishes the OMC and gives the OMC the authority and the administrator, which is designated as the RTC, to make changes to the agreement from time to time. Legal counsel felt that an amendment was the best way to go, and that's what you have in front of you. So it's a very simple amendment. Oh, I should also mention that just as a housekeeping item, we changed all references from the RTC general manager to the RTC chief executive officer. So that's just a housekeeping issue. The main issue in front of you is changing the funding source for AMS from Q10 to MVFT. So that is the background, and staff would recommend approval. Would Brian like to add anything?
No, thank you. I think that summarizes it very nicely.
Okay, thank you, Brian and JP. Any questions or comments from the committee? All right, if I'm hearing none and no hands being waved, I will make a motion to follow staff's recommendations. All in favor?
Okay, I'll go ahead and do the roll call vote. Michelle Castro from NDOT.
Aye.
Masad Javid from Clark County.
Hello.
Is that an aye?
Hello.
Hello. We hear you, Monsieur.
Well, yeah, I had a couple of questions. I guess it didn't connect it when I had questions.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's the current operating budget, what's NDOT's share of it, and, what's going to... and then I have other questions if you want to...
If you want, I can...
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I can start with a response. So the current... Let me get my glasses real quickly. So we divide the budget into two parts, the AMS and the FMS. AMS is Arterial Management System. FMS is Freeway Management System. The current budget for the AMS for FY20 is $5,215,435. And then for the NDOT portion, what happens there is that NDOT reimburses us for our costs. So that is separate. They reimburse us to operate the freeway management system. And then that budget is currently in the 2.1 million range. And that budget does increase as more devices come online. For example, with Project Neon being completed and the relief of maintenance occurring, we're adding 400 or so new devices. And so we have a prorated cost that allows us to cover that. So there's part of the answer at least.
Okay.
Yeah, Masood, I was having phone trouble right in the middle of your question. This is John Penuelos again, I'm sorry, with the RTC. So could you repeat the second half of your question? I apologize.
Yeah, the first half was, what's the operating budget and, what's the NDOT's share. And the second part of the question is, what is it going to be going forward? I mean, is there any mechanism, what we'd be expecting for future budgets?
Yeah, there is a budget process. Do you want to explain that, Brian? Beyond what the FAST agreement, the NDOT agreement currently runs through fiscal year 2021. So there'll be another agreement with NDOT to reimburse the cost of operating the freeway system. And then the arterial management system goes through the normal RTC budget process, correct, Brian?
That's correct. So Brian Hoff for the record. And what we do there is that budget covers a lot of the staffing. It also covers repairs and maintenance, kind of the smaller costs to operate and maintain the system, in particular the communications network. And the capital costs, say the cost to build a traffic signal, to deploy fiber, and other hardware and software devices, that is normally borne by the entities, and then everything is handed over for us to operate and maintain when it comes to the traffic signals, the closed circuit televisions, and the fiber network.
I mean, that's kind of hard to take notes, but I was wondering if we could have this information somehow so I can share it with with our management. And, if we could delay the vote till we had a couple of days, we could discuss it with them.
Well, yeah, we could certainly do that. That's not a problem. The issue at hand, though, is not really the budgeted amounts. The issue at hand is whether or not we want to change the funding of the arterial management system. Again, John Penuelos for the record. From Q10, which it currently is, to MVFT, the motor vehicle fuel tax. So the approximate burden that will be switched over to motor vehicle fuel tax currently is $5.2 million. And that process, and in fact, the OMC, in practice, it hasn't been done this way, but the agreement that's in place right now, the FAST agreement, says that the OMC shall approve the budget for FAST annually. So what's happened in the past is it's been a de facto approval when Brian presents the budget to the OMC. So if you would like, I mean, we could make that a more formal process and make sure OMC is signs off on the budget going forward each year. So the budgeting process is not really an issue. The issue is the extent to which you're comfortable with changing the funding source from sales tax to motor vehicle fuel tax, which all the operations under FAST qualify for fuel tax. So there are no issues there. So I would, we could certainly delay the vote until Clark County had an opportunity to look at the budget. But the numbers are there. We would hope that you would be comfortable with the numbers that were just presented, and you would be able to vote in the affirmative at this point. That would be our recommendation and our hope, but we will be happy to accommodate Clark County to whatever extent makes you comfortable.
Well, I mean, right now, Mr. Javed, for the record, right now, I just got this information. I would really appreciate the time to discuss it with my management before, giving a vote either way.
Yeah, this is an urgent matter given the current situation, but I don't think that it is so urgent that we could not wait until April, May, the June meeting.
Sorry, we can even have emergency meeting if you like.
Yeah, that is a conceivable thing. So it sounds to me like Clark County is not comfortable at this point to vote in the affirmative. So I guess how would we handle that, David? Do we want to have Clark County make a motion to hold the item to the next meeting whenever that's scheduled?
Yes, you can go ahead and make that motion. That motion is fine.
Okay, you're waiting for me to...
Okay.
Yeah.
Joseph,
Yeah.
Norby.
I'd like to make... Okay, go ahead, sorry.
No,
Joseph Norby.
Before you make that question, before you make that motion, let's go around and make sure everybody else has any questions or comments.
Sorry.
Please make sure to state your name for the record.
Joseph Norby, City of Las Vegas. I just have one quick question. Do we, and maybe it's more just for clarification on our end, does this decision still have to go to the EAC and to the board to be fully ratified, or is if we make it here at this level, is it a done deal?
Do you want to handle that one, Joe, or do you want me to?
You can.
Okay, no problem. Yes, this is the first step. It's a a 5-part agreement, so it would have to be ratified by each of the signatories, which is the RTC, each of the member agencies, and NDOT. So this is essentially a recommendation to those approving authorities.
If I could, Joe Damiani, JP, we weren't bringing this to the EAC. It was going to go directly to the board. Was that correct? And then the individual agency councils.
That is correct.
So, Joe, for the record, it won't go to EAC. However, it will go to the board.
Joseph Norby, City of Las Vegas. Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it.
Okay, Joe Damiani, does anybody else have any questions or comments before we receive a motion? Okay, hearing none. Masood, if you could go ahead and present your motion.
Masood Javed, Clark County. I'd like to present a motion to delay the vote till we get the information that we talked about in the meeting in a writing form, and we can discuss it with our management, and we can also have an emergency meeting anytime before the scheduled meeting.
Hey, 1 second, please. This is John Penuelos again. David, since we have a motion on the floor, we're going to have to do some procedural things before we can accept another motion. So we're going to have to either withdraw that motion, the original motion for a vote, or continue the vote on it and then see what we want to do with the second motion. I guess the best thing to do would be to withdraw that motion.
Yes, Joe Damiani, RTC. Yes, I did make a motion before Masood, because he had audio problems. So therefore, I will withdraw my original motion of following staff recommendations, and we'll then proceed with Clark County's motion. And if I could summarize, we have a motion on the floor. Is that acceptable, David?
Yeah, this is fine.
Okay. So Joe Damiani. So if I could, we have a motion on the floor from Clark County to hold the item to the June meeting, and if deemed necessary, potentially a emergency meeting in May. However, I think we should be able to handle May. So we have a motion on the floor to hold this item until the next scheduled meeting and or a potential emergency meeting. And with that, we'll call the roll.
Thank you for the clarification, Joe. Just wanted to add that it would be a special meeting, not necessarily an emergency meeting.
You broke up, David.
Thank you for the clarification. I just wanted to add that it would be a special meeting and not an emergency meeting. This is David Gloria for the record.
I'm not hearing him. Is anybody?
No, I'm not hearing him.
Sorry about
I'm
that.
not hearing either.
I just wanted to clarify. Thank you for the clarification on that motion. Just wanted to add that it would be a special.
David, we're having some audio issues.
Sorry about the technical difficulties. I just wanted to thank you, Joe, for the clarification on the motion. I did want to add that it would be a special scheduled meeting, not an emergency meeting. Did that come out better?
Yes.
Okay. So I can go ahead and proceed with the roll call vote. Michelle Castro Endot.
Aye.
Masood Javid, Clark County.
Aye.
Joe Damiani, RTC.
Aye.
Eric Hawkins, City of Henderson.
Aye.
Eric Hawkins, can you repeat that?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Joseph Norby, City of Las Vegas.
Aye.
And then Tim Reisman, City of North Las Vegas.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you. That is 6 ayes. The motion carries.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Joe Damiani, RTC. This moves us on to item number 6, which is to discuss new transportation technologies and their use in measuring, monitoring, and enhancing performance on Southern Nevada roadways.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman Brian Hoft, for the record, and I'll give an update on a couple of items. We at RTC and some of our partners are starting to plan for the next notice of funding opportunity for various federal grants. The one in focus for us is the ATCMTD, which is the Advanced Transportation and Congestion Management Technology Deployment. And so we are starting to brainstorm some ideas so that when that funding opportunity comes out, we will be in a good position to provide a coordinated response. So we'll keep you updated on how that goes. And then the federal grant that we received a couple of years ago, which we call the GoMed project, one of the milestone events that we just completed a couple of weeks ago was the systems requirement workshop, where we got together with the city and all the different departments involved in that project, and went through some of the technological requirements as we roll that forward. And then finally, a lot of what we do here is contingent on having data and performance measures ready. One of the questions we've been receiving during these last couple of weeks is what is happening with traffic, what's happening with the volumes, what's happening with the traffic speeds. And I'm happy to report that all the hard work that we put in as with our partner agencies here has allowed us to retrieve that data and prepare reports that give us information about the volume so that we can make informed decisions moving forward. So that's a nice example of when an emergency crops up that we are able to take action and provide good insights. So I will take any questions or comments, but that concludes my report for this item.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Joe Damiani, any questions or comments from the committee? Okay, hearing none. Thank you. This brings us to item number 7, which is to discuss topics of interest. Does anybody have anything they would like to share with the committee? Okay, hearing none. So our last item is just citizens' participation. Again, no action can be taken on any matter discussed under this item, but the committee can direct that an item be placed on a future agenda. David, did we receive any public comment during the meeting?
Joe Damiani, this is David Gloria. I will confirm that we have not received any additional public comment.
David, was that you will confirm or you did confirm?
I did confirm.
Okay. So Joe Damiani, RTC, having no citizens' participation, we will close that. And therefore, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.